Oops, wrong one. Hoi ahoy. Right then, let's try and get this sorted out. Create new map draft. Hello, hello. Yeah, I think he should be alright on the inside out map from what I was looking. He's normally more solid on those. Well, I think Bone's just better at the early aggression. Game 2, Jesse just had Shang, and he just went like, I think it was like a 16 vil up and just went double Axa rush. And Bone should have pretty much probably resigned pretty early on and just sort of like played out for a bit. But here in our game, we have Spear Sky versus MagnusCarlsen. Not to be confused with the Chess Prodigy. See what the map picks are going to be here. So we got Desert Ridge for Magnus. I was quite a big fan of picking this map early on in the drafts myself, but then I kept getting like really unlucky spots. I just like couldn't be bothered anymore, so stopped picking it. Hill country. I kept getting weird like maps where it's like my entire map was just like really open. I didn't really like that. Anyway, Ocean Ring. That's interesting that Magnus has gone that one. Ocean Ring definitely one of the more challenging maps, and Sahara. Okay. So none of the. I guess Ocean Ring is a bit more kind of. I was going to say closed map, but it's vulnerable to the water. So it could be interesting, that one. And I'll just send them the Civ draft as well. Just get the. Oh, Spisp guy's already on it for me, so I don't need to do the post. And I guess I'll link in the chat. What am I trying to do? Should I still do the @everyone ping? I don't know if I want to like. I guess they can choose. Yeah, I'll still do the @everyone ping. People can just choose if they want to stick with Kitchen Stream or come to mine. Everyone, Sky versus MagnusCarlsen. Live now. Nope, that's not how you spell now. What happened in Coastal? Yeah, I was sort of just like setting up my. Oh, both players picked Shang here. I was sort of setting up the stream, and I think Kitchen's missed the early game because he keeps starting his stream like 2 minutes, 3 minutes after the game's actually started. So, yeah, I think Jesse just played a bit passive. I think he was just like trying to build up eco on the water, and then Bone went with forward army, and I think Jesse just didn't have any land army, I think is what happened. But like I said, I kind of didn't catch the whole game. Okay, that draft was well quick. So yeah, Lakviat and Shang. Minnow for to be. Yeah, Minnow would be nice for Ocean Ring there. Persian as well. Persian can be very nice on Desert Ridge if you manage to grab a lot of those early elephants. Sorry, I'm just messaging the players. Let's have a yep. So Hittites not as strong anymore on the newest patch as they used to be, with Slingers being much stronger now, and also the water bonus being nerfed. What else do we have? And Carthaginians. I've seen a bit of a resurgence of Carth being picked, and Assyrians as well. I'm not a huge fan of Assyrians anymore, personally. But there we go. Phoenicians, I'm more of a fan of that. Yeah, Assyrians, they just don't really have much going on for them at the moment. Especially because their bow bonus got nerfed as well in the Tool Age, which I think probably didn't need to happen, or not as hard, at least, in the early game. Like I said, I think the Assyrian bonus should just be like 25%, something like that, all the way through, and just stay at 25%. I think 33% was a little bit too much, but I think 25 would be fine. Yeah, I think 11. I think like I said, I think I'd prefer just 25 all the way through the game. I think that'd be fine. Just because, like, yeah, if you just go slingers, it's so easy to deal with. Yeah, with the Assyrians, and obviously they don't get slingers themselves. Like, I've seen some people play Assyrians and then they just open scouts. I've seen that a couple of times, just because they're like, people expect them to go bows, so they go slings, and then the scouts. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Yeah, but it's a bit of a risky strategy if like the other player goes all in on axes, because then the scouts just do nothing. But I have seen it a couple of times. And actually, Macedonians picked by MagnusCarlsen as well. So nobody picked Yamato, and that's, I guess, probably the biggest surprise for me. Romans, I think, are sort of like, they've sort of slipped down the tier list a little bit through the different patches and different versions of the game. So not as high priority as they have been in past versions of the game anymore, which I think is fine. In my opinion, Phoenicians are just all a bit more all-round better. Romans can still be good on certain maps, and their elite game can still be quite strong, especially with the extra range on Holopolis and stuff like that, and obviously just their legionary spam. Let me just check what's going on here. Okay, they're just sorting out what server to play on. It's probably East US. Yeah. And soon enough, yep, they've got the lobby up and running. And they have selected the correct map, I believe. I hope so, anyway. Oh no, wait. I think they should know what's going on now. He's got custom map pool selected, and it's just making me a little bit nervous. That's all I'll say. Saying that, I was there was my game when I was playing against when I was playing against Morik, and like my internet just like went down just before I was meant to start playing. Okay, yeah, they've got it right. I was a little bit flustered, and I had my map set to hill country, and I didn't notice, and that was didn't end up making too much of a difference, but yeah, I sort of maybe played a little bit worse than I should have done. Okay, let me just get to the capture age, where this is the thing, when I first start up, I get a bit confused by the millions of tabs I've got going out. So yeah, we've got both players on the Shang here, and these are not... Oh, that's funny. The funny thing, because I think my last cast actually was another MagnusCarlsen game, so I'll just quickly update that. So this is Sky. And what is Sky's... I'll get that back to date. I'm just going to find Sky's seed, so I can update that as well. Bracket. Sky's seed 17. There we go. Okie dokie. So yeah, both players picking the Shang Civ for the first Highland map. And let's have a look. So MagnusCarlsen on the bottom side here has sort of just trying to look like wood lines. A little bit more enclosed map for Sky, I'd say. They're both reasonably closed, but like a little bit more open on the front for MagnusCarlsen. I guess it's reasonably open here, but like quite easy to block off these things. Village being sent to the middle for Sky, trying to find those elephants in the middle there. He does spot that one as well. So it'll be interesting if he tries... Oh, is he just going to give up on that? Oh, that's a little bit... Does he think this is the central elephant? Not 100% sure what Sky's doing here. Okay, that's a little bit odd, because normally what happens is there's two central elephants, and then there's sort of two in an area around. And Sky maybe just, I don't know, getting in his own head there, thinking that was the central elephant, because he didn't find the other one. So yeah, could have quite easily grabbed that, because Magnus has not gone for the centre, he's just found the elephants near him, because you do have two elephant near you. So that's one there, and I guess the other one is... Where is his other one? Unless that is just his second elephant, and I'm getting confused here. No, that's. I think that's the central map one. Oh, he's already pulled one in. So he's already found his two. Yeah, he's found his two nearby elephant, and neither has actually taken the central two, which is kind of interesting. We'll see. Both pretty nice idle time. Shang one of the easier civs to keep that idle time low, with the obviously ridiculous bonus having 40 HP villagers. And looks like it's going to be a storage pit here for MagnusCarlsen next to his gazelle. So it's quite nice when you don't have to do so much of a gazelle push. And it's sort of similar for Sky there. I think it looks like a couple of the gazelle ran a bit far away before he managed to knock those down. MagnusCarlsen has just slightly missed those central elephants. That's very unfortunate for him. Unless this is actually just a painting villager, and he wasn't actually going for the elephants. Unfortunately, he's going a little bit in the wrong direction. That's one of the things about playing, because we're playing the 3-player map instead of the 2. It's a little bit harder to find your opponent on this slightly bigger map. But he is actually going in the sort of the right direction now. It's 18 click up, 18 pop click up for both players here. But it looks like, well, Carlsen has the villager forward. Sky's just playing at home for the time being. Barracks goes up here. I guess he's sort of just playing the odds game here now, because Sky could kind of be here or here. And so I think it's going to be a little bit of a flip of the coin to see if the club is going the right direction here. Because I'm sure a couple will be coming out as soon as that barracks is up, indeed. And okay, so villager is moving in the right direction. So we should see the barracks going up. A little bit awkward housing placement, potentially if the game does go long for farms and stuff. Oh, and the second barracks now. So Carlsen has managed to more or less get himself in the right place. Clubber goes the other way though. So that's interesting that he's committed to both directions, but then put the second barracks down here. Let's see, tool working coming in as the first upgrade for Sky. Does not actually make any clubbers yet though. I don't know if he's just... Oh, okay, he's going into scouts, interesting. Shang with the cheaper villagers do have that food to spare a bit more, so they're one of the better civs for going for the more expensive scouts with. And there you can see the leather armor coming upgrade. Oh no, I think it was actually... Oh no, yeah, I thought I was getting myself confused between the two sides of that, but clubbers are now in. He has the wall in here, but the barracks on the right-hand side there. But clubbers gone the wrong way, and axe upgrade isn't in, so clubbers themselves do not have the damage bonus against scouts. So I think the scout just wins this now, because yeah, because it's got a much larger HP pool. So probably maybe should have been researching axe from this back barracks here, just to get that in, because his early clubbers are just going to get easily dealt with here. Sneaky villager. Oh no, that isn't the sneaky villager. Where is the villager gone? Let's have a look. It's just building a couple of houses here. Axer upgrade really needed for Magnus here if he wants this push to work though. He does have a decent number of clubs, but like I said, it's clubbers just, yeah, axe coming out. Clubbers just have the same damage as a scout, and they don't get that bonus damage to cavalry that axes do. And this has given Sky the time to get the archery range up. So I presume he's going to start adding a few bows into the queue there, which he does. One clubber is in the back though, being a menace. And it does have both the upgrades, so against villagers it's still going to be able to get the job done, even if it doesn't against the scouts. Axer upgrade finally in. And this forward villager is going to go down. But now Sky does need to be a little bit more careful. First bow does come out though. And it was second archery range was trying to go up there, but another villager gets picked off. So MagnusCarlsen still in a quite a decent position. Maybe should be a lot more further ahead than he currently is. And he's not losing a lot of HP just chasing villagers here. Maybe he should just focus the scouts for the time being. Probably not getting as much damage in as he could have done. Let's have a look at home. Market and archery range. Double archery range, in fact. But it's a little bit short on food at the moment, so he's not going to be able to pump from all the military buildings. And this last axe is going to get dealt with now. So yeah, just probably the Axer upgrade just needed to come in a lot faster there for Magnus to make this push effective. The scouts quite easily dealing with the clubbers before the upgrade came in. But that said, here we are. I was going to say Magnus is mostly walled, but there are a couple of holes here and there, like you can see at the back here. I know Unrestricted was saying about my walls in my games. It's an easy thing to just miss though when you don't do the exploration. Maybe Magnus assuming that these wood lines go to the edge of the map, but obviously we know otherwise. Scout's still alive, which is going to be useful for Sky for literally just searching the map, and he should be able to find Magnus fairly quickly. That said, there's still a couple of axes in the back of the base here, and the bows are going forward. He is still pumping from one of the archery ranges though. And some walls go in. Is that yeah, so he is actually shut in there, is he? Yep, with the house as well. So I think, like, Sky should be able to hold here. Actually, saying that though, villagers are only 13. That's something I hadn't been paying attention to. He's just full pump on the bows. He's not been doing any eco. And I guess, like I said, they both went up on 18 vills, so he's at least lost 5. Scout forward though is going to catch out this. Cat's just jumped on my keyboard. Come on, little cat, off you go. Sorry about that. It's like stood. I think it's the page up button. I don't know. Whatever the zoom in button is on the keyboard. But a couple of villagers picked off now for of Magnus's villagers by Sky. Get my words right. A couple of slingers out as well actually now. So Magnus still got some offensive action happening. Cat's just yelling off. Hopefully that's not too loud. I'm going to shut her out, I think. Sorry about that, sports fans. Back to the game. But yeah, like I said, the lack of walls at the back of the base here. So even though it's in a very small force, this is going to force a lot of idle time from the villagers. In fact, Carlsen not reacting particularly fast. Is going to lose at least 2 villagers here. I guess probably focusing on the base at the front. Another villager goes down. Oh, this is very unfortunate. And 16 to 14 now. Aye. This is the kind of thing. I know it's easy to get distracted when you're playing on both sides of the map, but that's going to maybe cost Carlsen here. Score evening up. But saying that, bows in for Magnus. There are some bows in defense though. So I think Sky should be able to hold this. Hasn't found the wood line of Magnus on this side yet. And yeah, Magnus just trying to focus the villagers. So I think, like I said, Sky should clear this up. Game's gone pretty crazy. Just have to turn off my Steam notification. Sorry, someone decides to message me. And Carlsen finally notices, but at this point it's down to 14. There's only 7 left for Sky though. And maybe needs to just re-war quickly. This game is falling apart at the seams for both players. I mean, with only 7 villagers left, You got to think this is going to take too long for Sky to get back in the game. But neither player's like producing any eco. And Sky's still committing all of his food to the military. Does queue up one villager finally. He has well 5-1 military lead. Literally only one bow, which is going to get killed now. This game, absolute madness. And is Magnus going to GG out when his opponent's only on 9 vills? I don't know. Like I said, he still hasn't found the wood line. Some villagers make a run for it, and he does have the few farmers here. But Magnus just not making anything. Loses another villager. I don't know where exactly that was. It was just a little farmer there. Man, this game is absolute madness. And Sky's still managing to just pump bows. I guess he thinks at this point he just needs to all in. And these couple of bows now, maybe these do spot the wood line. Doesn't go for the attack. Maybe just going to scout for now. Doesn't want to give himself away. Still a few bows here. Just a little blinking lights. Not much actually going on there. I think just bow was attacking the barracks there. And Magnus finally trying to make some units from his archer rangers here. So actually I think he is going to be able to clear this up again. Scout does spot some of the villagers though. So this might be 5 villagers more down. Does delete the wall, but that's not going to stop the scout from coming in here. He does have the bows in defense, I guess. But another 3 villagers down. 11-10. 21-minute game. And we've got 11-10 villagers. The other cat had to let the other cat out. Sorry. So yep, this game, I don't really know. I mean, like I said, they're just both still pumping the bows. It's got as many bows as he does have villagers at this point. So it's a little hard to call. I'm not used to seeing games reach this point. A couple of archer bows going to get caught out of Magnus there. So 2 down there. Woodworking finally coming in for Sky. I don't think Magnus has the woodworking, so that could be a nice little advantage for Sky there. And unfortunately, again, Magnus is going to get a bunch of his bows just caught out. So 4 quick kills for Sky, only losing 1. Well, I don't think they really have the stone firstlings. Magnus switching on to maybe. I think this might even be accidental. It is even on stone here. And he finally does try to... Oh, it looks like he tried to wall there, but this bowman just sitting on the back there, preventing that from being fully blocked up. Another scout comes through. Bow versus bow action. I don't know why Sky moved there. He was going to win the trade. There we go. And yeah, just a single bowman still being a nuisance in the back. And the scout's going to pick off another villager that's trying to block up the back here. And both players sort of getting a few more villagers out, and still slight villager lead. It'll be interesting to see what the resources are like. I feel like it's probably fairly even, to be honest, the eco. And they're saying that 1,000 advantage to MagnusCarlsen. But I feel like Carlsen has maybe thrown away a lot more of his military. Let's have a look. In fact, KD will show that. Yeah, Sky's got 51 kills to only the 37 for Magnus. So maybe, yeah, Magnus has collected the more resources, but Sky using it a bit more effectively. Slingers are now in for Magnus. And there isn't anything at home to defend Sky. All of his units are forward, so we might just see the whole fit process over again. I don't think he has stone mining in. No, not yet. He does have the 50 stone. I think it's like 150 food as well for stone mining, or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but this thing is easily going to get the kills here on the bowman. So slingers will only do 1 damage to the villagers. So villagers can actually kill these slingers here. So I'm not really sure why Sky is hiding here. You could just bone these down with the villagers. Plenty of bows in defense for Magnus as well now. And let's have a look where most of Sky's army is still just like on the outside here. Scout does come in, and that will clean up the slingers. But like I said, when there's only 2 slingers there, you can just bone those down with your villagers. Because like I said, the slingers only do the 2 damage, I should say. I think I mistakenly said 1 damage earlier. But it is 2 damage. But the villagers do 3 back, so... Still a couple of bows at the back here, still just preventing this from being locked up. 2 villagers come forward. How many? So that's 8 versus 8. Sky does have the high ground here though, and he's going to just pick up these 2 villagers pretty easily again. And Magnus is actually already down to, there's going to be 9 villagers now. So it's kind of, I don't know if we've reached more than 20 vills at any point. Sky might want to try and bait this back up the hill to get the hill advantage. And he looks like he's sort of trying to micro back. And he doesn't really need to micro anymore. Yeah, you can just let him fire now. And he should just win this trade. I think the microing here is he's just actually lowering his attack rate. So I think he just needs to let him rip. And yeah, you can see with the hill advantage. Sky going to win out on that one. So he's going to have 4 bows left over. Pretty nice for him. And now with the eco lead, I think... I'm saying that, still a couple of units in the back. I was going to say, I think finally Sky getting a good grip on this game. But we see if these... It's only 2 military units, but they're still so capable of doing a lot of damage here. The bows come in. Going to mess up the farmers. Probably just kill this 1 bow here. Now switch to the farmers. But it doesn't actually have the armor in, so if you can close the gap. I mean, Magnus actually is doing surprisingly well in the defense there. Axa is in though. Like I said, you can deal with the slinger with villagers, but you can't deal with the Axa. Maybe just pop. Yeah, I mean, he's still pumping bows, so he should be able to deal with this fairly easily. And like I said, it's 8 villager advantage. And again, this 1 bowman has 8 kills. I think he should die now. Oh no, Sky gonna try a micro. Is he just trying to waste time here, I guess? Buy himself some time elsewhere. And those axes and the slingers do go down. Might be worth Sky just clearing up these forward barracks to make so he doesn't have to keep dealing with those. I think Scout will die to this, but yeah, bow in the back should deal with the Axa. He does get 1 last villager though before he goes down. Does he get 2? Not quite. 3 eco kills. Still, yeah. So big military advantage. Only I mean, I was going to say vill advantage, but it's only 2 again. Let's have a look at that. I think, yeah, it's about equal now. But like I said, Sky just with the way better KD ratio. Magnus finally getting that wall up. This has been probably one of the longest Tool Age fights I've seen in a very long time. Maybe the longest. There is a house in the wall here though, so it's a weak spot in the wall. First, Sky is trying to break in, and you can see how quickly that house goes down. What do we have in defense? Not much. In fact, the 2 bows are forward. Oh, no, not forward, they're just on the side here. So, 2 more villagers go down for Magnus. And Sky just needs to push in again here. And I don't know if it's intentionally. I was going to say, I don't think he's intentionally trying to kill those barracks there. Stone Miner's going to get caught out. Another 2 quick kills. And the wood line is also completely open here. And I think Sky is finally going to put the last nail in the coffin of this crazy game 1, and there we go, GG. In fact, I've just noticed that saying 3-0. So how do I clear this? There we go. So 1-0 to Sky in one of the most crazy two-age wars I've seen in a long time. And let's have a look. In fact, what was the villager high in the end? 20. So we got to 24 at one point. I can't remember exactly where that was, but that game was absolute madness. That was quite a funny game to watch. I quite enjoyed that one. I wasn't really sure. It was very, very back and forth. It was just one of the classic ones where they're both just destroying each other's eco. And I think there was a point where Sky was down to, I feel like it was less than 10 villagers at one point, and he was just pumping the bows, and that brought him back into the game. It's one of those crazy games. Let me just, hopefully I won't get the fire bug thing on Capture Age, but if I do, I can just do the quick restart. And yeah, so what a crazy game that was. Let's have a look. Looks like they are setting up the lobby for the next game, but I'll just go back to the draft. So it was Shang for both players, but winning for Sky on this one. Magnus, like I've said it many times before, Magnus doesn't picks the maps. He doesn't have to pick his own maps, so he can pick his opponent. But you'd probably expect them to pick their own maps here. Maybe he goes just Ocean Ring here and just pulls out the Minnow. I think with the nerfs to Hittite now, Minnow are just by far the best water civ again. But we'll see. He could pick Desert Ridge, which like I said before, I think Persians would probably be the pick for Desert Ridge. Just with the amount of elephants you can get on that middle ridge of the map with the Persian hunt bonus. Was it you messaged me before, Jay? Yeah, it was. And yeah, both players are in the lobby. It's a pretty long game one. Like I said, it's pretty mad. Magnus, I didn't notice that Magnus should stick to chess, maybe. No, this is a Brazilian player, not the Norwegian chess grandmaster. Do I have a... Okay, it's just from a different Discord. I'm just making sure I wasn't missing anything. Is the Jesse versus Bone series still going? Or is that series finished now? Okay, anyway. Oh no, I can see they're literally in a game still. On Inland. Have they gone to game 5 then? Oh, okay, looks like there's something wrong with the... lobby, because they just remade it quick. I'm just going to restart Capture Age because it annoyingly does that like annoying sound effect at the end of the game. There we go, we're back. And I'm presuming we should get in pretty quickly here. Not exactly sure what's going on. Okay. Are we ready, kids? But it looks like Jesse versus Bone series must have gone the full distance. Because it was game 4 when I left Kitchen Stream. So that must have been a pretty good series to watch as well. But for the time being, we're focusing on the Group A game between Sky Spear or is it Spear Sky? We'll just call him Sky. He's called himself Sky. And MagnusCarlsen. And we're just waiting for them to launch the game. Maybe having a few just lobby issues. Well, hopefully, hopefully they get that sorted out quickly. We're going to be here for quite some time of each of those games, or as long as that first one was. And we're having to wait this long for the lobbies to go up as well. I do have another game that I'm casting at, I think it's at 6 GMT. Let me just double check that. There's quite a lot of games today. Yeah, it's at 6 GMT. I don't expect this game series will go that long. Okay, they finally launched. I was about to message them to ask them if there was some issue. Oh, and it is Ocean Ring. So, like I was saying, for Magnus, he has the Minoans, which I'd say has a strong civ advantage for the map. So, let's get sent to the capture age view. And it is Minoans against Hittites. And like I said, with the nerf to the range on the scout ships, the Hittite, going from +2 to +1, I think it's just much easier for the Minnow to just outmass with the cheaper ship bonus. So I think for me, Minnow is just the favoured civ here. But obviously a lot of the game comes down to your execution at the end of the day. And this map is, like I said, one of the more unconventional ones. Granary start for Sky, actually. In fact, both players are going Granary, which is not usually the meta play for this map. Normally what you do is you just tag that elephant like... So yeah, you see Sky has actually tagged the elephant. He's built the Granary, and he's not gathering any of the berries here. And so, like, he's doing the correct thing in terms of what he should have done, collecting the food. But normally you don't put the Granary down, you save the wood to just get that storage pit down ASAP instead. But both players have done the same play of building the Granary first. So at least, I guess, they're on the same level here. And very wide crossing for Sky here. So sometimes you can do like a bit of dock blocking. In fact, this is a little bit awkward as well with a little bit of shallows on that side there. So in fact, that's actually quite a difficult thing to block as well. Sometimes you can use the docks and like houses and stuff to block that off to stop your opponent getting in. But yeah, the other aspect of this map is obviously you've got the water all the way around. So if you don't migrate into the middle of the map and you lose the water, what tends to happen is you get pinned in by your opponent's scout ships or war galleys if they get to the Bronze Age. So there's a lot of aspects to this map. It's quite a tricky map to play. Is this the two-player map? That's a good question. I think this is still 3-player. It just looks... It's just because they've spawned quite close together, but I will double check. Yeah, it's the 3-player map. I think it's just that because they've spawned quite near to each other, it makes the map look smaller than it is. Because yeah, where you spawn relative to your opponent's pretty random on this one. Sometimes you can be over here, it's like more usual, or like you can even be like here. So maybe it might just be that it's like some 3-player map jankiness, but yeah, the middle lake. I mean, it's just got this like land mass in the middle. There is there's a decent amount of shore fish, but there's only like one patch of deep fish. But anyway, just to focus on what's going on here. So storage pit does finally go up for both players. Magnus has his with a couple of shore fish nearby, so he can take advantage of those as well. Not exactly sure where this... Oh, it's... Okay. I was going to say, not sure where that's going, but it was going to build a dock. Next to a couple more of the fish. Not bothering with trying to dock block here. I think potentially if you built the dock here and then put one there, maybe that would block it off. But maybe he just doesn't want to block. Sky, is this going to be a dock as well? Yep. In fact, Tool Age coming in. And Magnus is already on 22 vils. So maybe this is just trying to go straight to bronze. 20 vil up for Sky. So he's going to have quite a big advantage in terms of being able to get out the scout ships early, which could put him in a good position. And like I said, the Minoans get the cheaper docks and cheaper ships, but you can't build those scout ships until you hit Tool Age. So at the moment he's just going to be building the fishing ships and getting his eco going. And I think this is one of the maps where fast bronze can quite easily be punished, like I said, just because if you get the scout ships in, you can just trap your opponent in their base. Just have one villager just with a house out here. I don't know if he's going to try and maybe put some, like a barracks or something forward. And villager out here as well, in fact. So we'll see. Tool agent, and like I said, scout ship already coming out. Second dock as well for Sky. Small walls, so maybe just going to try and warp the base and just go all in on the sea. I think Sky saw... Okay, Magnus has seen it as well now. Villager gone into attack mode. You can see this guy's still got his hunting spear, whereas MagnusCarlsen's villager's got the fist ready to throw. Woodworking coming in straight away as well from Sky, actually. Double scout ship pump as soon as you hit the tool age, though, for Magnus. So actually he probably is going to have enough ships by the time the scout ship comes around, and it's in fact just looking around the shoreline for now. So Magnus definitely going to have enough time to catch up on the scout ship numbers. We're going to see the bone come out. I'm not exactly sure what the actual plan was with this villager, if it was just a little bit of scouting, but whatever it was trying to do, Magnus is sort of denying this. Nice little wall there as well, actually. If you can try and sort of control this section, that'd be quite good for him. But scout ship comes in, but scout ship's already out. A couple idle over on this side here. But, first few hits are already in for Magnus. Like I said, Sky does already have the woodworking upgrade, so he does actually have effectively, well, he just does have +2 range on Magnus here. Sort of imitating the old Hittite bonus, but presumably Magnus will build his own market and woodworking. There we go, literally as I say it. And we've got a few scout ships coming around. I think it's still only 2 docks for Sky. Yeah, he's actually going for the close walls. That's a bit interesting. I think I would have preferred to try and see if he would have gone forward with the walls. He hasn't quite scouted that though. He's ready to receive. Well, still a couple of... Oh, he's gone round here with some of the scout ships. So Sky should pretty handily win the initial trade, but defender's advantage with the docks being much closer. Carlsen should be able to reinforce this fairly easily. Nice little bit of micro of the ship by Sky there, distracting the fire. And like I said, the reinforcement pumps coming in. Another ship at the back there. He's repairing the ship as well, but he's going to lose a few here. So I think it's probably might be a more or less even trade at the end of the day. Forward barracks, so it was actually a forward barracks. And clubber down, but walls are fully up. Well, this one not quite fully up, but most of the way. And there we go, like I said, defender's advantage, just get those reinforcements in faster, whereas Skies have to go the long way. Scout ships are going to wrap round though, are they going to see the wood line here? He does see a few villagers on the wood, but I think Magnus is not focusing there, I think he's focusing here at the moment. And Bronze Age actually is coming in now for Magnus. And like, he's still, yeah, he's had that like fishing eco, only 4 fishing ships, but Sky only on the 1, so decent advantage on the eco there. And he's managed to sneak a villager in there maybe. And he's going to catch this villager out here. Maybe these here, but the scout ship's going to be pretty close by. But maybe one more villager goes down here, yeah. So a couple of villagers. If you had spotted that wood line, probably been able to do much more damage. Forward dock for Sky here now. I feel like this probably isn't that good of an idea. In fact, if Magnus notices that, I feel like Magnus can just deal with this pretty easily, just because he has so many docks in defense. He can, yeah, he's got so many ships here. He can just pull them back and just destroy this instantly. So, brave idea. Don't know if it's going to work out from there, but we'll see if Magnus actually sees it. Magnus again. There we go. He sees the wood line this time. Another villager picked off, and yes, Sky not really reacting here. Quite 3 villagers already down, 4. I'm not sure exactly where he's focusing. Maybe on the water up here. so many villagers already going down here. I think that's 7 eco kills combined between the two. And Woodline is going to be forced to go idle. You can maybe try and push onto the main island here. This was going up here in archery range. Like I said, what happened? What's that villager doing? So stable forward, but is this just going to be a few chariots from the Minoan player and he's just waiting for the wheel to come in? Nothing pumping from that stable at the moment so far. Battle on the water here. MagnusCarlsen does have the numbers advantage. Hittites still do have the +1 range, but it looks like this fight is just going to be going Magnus' favour. And yeah, just won this one scout ship, still pick off the Woodline, and GG called. So yeah, like I said, I think Sky did have the advantage against the Tool Age quicker, but just didn't quite get those scout ships numbers in time. And the Minoan bonuses, I think, just a little bit too strong at this point. So MagnusCarlsen playing a solid game here. Like I said, a little bit unfortunate to get his villagers caught out. I think, yeah, maybe just needs to focus a little bit more on the water instead of going for this. MagnusCarlsen just had himself very nicely walled. And like I think even I'm trying to think when that villager was getting chased around. I think maybe this wall here wasn't up yet, so maybe if the barracks comes down, he can try and do something on land. And it was always going to be a bit hard to fight the Minnow player on the water here, though, I think. But yeah, 1-1, and we'll get ourselves into game 3 pretty soon, I think. Oh, Magnus just asked for a minute break real quick, but I will take us back to the, excuse me, I had a hiccup there. Take us back to the draft. So yeah, Minnow's winning out there, and like I said, I think Minnow's kind of the clear favourite on any water map really nowadays, now after the new patch. And I guess, has the Jesse game must have finished. I guess Kitchens didn't feel like raiding me, which is a little bit sad, but it is what it is. He doesn't have to raid me if he doesn't want to. I don't know what the result of that game was. Let me have a... Did anyone see the end of the Jesse game? Spoil the result for me. What was the score on Rez? 3-2 Jesse. Oh, he did manage to pull it back. Well played to Jesse. I guess well played to both players. Bone through. Well, I guess I'll have to watch like the last game. Back on the cast. A little bit sad Kitchens didn't raid me here, but that's... We've got 19 viewers, so I guess most of you are already here. And thank you for being here with me. Oh, okay. I thought they were saying they're having a little break, but they're already into the next game. And we are... Where are we? Where's my capture age? There it is. Sahara. And Sky on the Latvia. And Macedonians for MagnusCarlsen. So like I said, I think he was saving the Persians for the Desert Ridge map. And I can't remember what the other map was off the top of my head from the draft. Let me just quickly check. Oh, it's Hill Country was the last map. Which I guess he's got Phoenicians for. But anyway, to focus on this game, Sky does have the Latvia. With a very nice faster berry gathering bonus. And he is actually going out trying to find some elephants straight away. A little bit unfortunate that he's not found it there. But there usually is quite a few dotted around the centre of the map. In fact, yeah, 2 in the centre of the map there. And another couple dotted around. And Magnus does find one of his initial two on the Gaia view there. Okay, in fact he's seen both of his early elephants, which is quite nice for him. The Macedonians having the very nice bonus of the extra line of sight on all the non-ranged units. It's very nice for the early game exploration. No elephants found for Sky though. I feel like this is one of those maps where there's the fairly... I think you just have there's pretty much always the two elephants in the centre of the map. So I don't know if he's just trying to do general scouting. Like I said, a little bit unfortunate to miss that elephant in the pocket there. In fact, these other ones right at the edge of the map. It's always a little bit sad when you get that, because you know it can happen, but you just don't want to waste time going right to the edge of the map. But it's going to cost Sky a little bit in terms of his eco. He has done quite a nice gazelle push here though. That's MagnusCarlsen, and looks like Sky also doing the same. This is one of the things I need to improve in my game. Is I always accidentally kill the gazelle when I'm trying to push it. So maybe I need to I need to work on that a little bit. But yeah, first elephant brought in. It's interesting that, like I say, none of them went for like the middle of the map elephants. Maybe Sky's artifact does find it here. Oh, you did. Thank you. Kitchens, you did do a raid in it. How do you switch players? Do you mean like the point of view? Is that what you mean? Because if you select any of like the units and then hold down tab, you just see their point of view. So I'm just like selecting a unit and then hold down tab. I think you can do it by pressing like Alt S as well. Oh no, that's something else. Is it Alt F? There we go. And you can like flick through this thing if you use Alt F. But yeah, normally I just do a thing, you select a thing and then just hold down tab, and then you can see there what they see. But yep, to get focused back on the game, 21 vils for Sky here. Potentially not really utilising the extra efficiency of the Latviat to go a bit faster to the tool age here. But that said, it looks like they're going to click basically exactly the same time. I'm saying that Magnus has clicked another... Oh, he doesn't have a second building. Neither of them have a second building. Storage pit getting rushed up for both players, and now they will both click. That was a little bit awkward. It's kind of funny that it's funny how on the Ocean Ring map they both went for the granary start, and on this map here they both missed the storage bit. But anyway, I think he had a villager on gold there for a second, but he's fixed that out. And granary going to go on these berries as well, so he's going to still utilise the berry bonus. But obviously you do have to pay the wood for the granary to take advantage of that extra speed. Yeah, nice little 12 gold. I guess maybe it did like collect a couple of times, and he noticed after that. Yeah, but it's a little bit strange that, well, 3 villager advantage, pretty much as more or less an entire minute idle time from MagnusCarlsen. That is one of the problems with the Macedonians, is they have the nice line of sight bonus, but they don't have any actual eco bonus. They're saying that a minute is quite a long time. I'm going to pull this elephant in here. I think artifact line of sight's pretty small, so it's not going to actually spot this. And barracks, where did the barracks go down? I think it's just defensive for both players. Yep, barracks just at home for both players. And we do have MagnusCarlsen trying to maybe do some forward villager shenanigans here. And that's another thing for the Macedonians is, although he's not moving the clubber at the moment, the line of sight bonus applies to them as well. Like I say, it's all melee units it applies to. Big walls coming in for MagnusCarlsen. Sahara tends to be one of the more open maps. So all the bigger tree lines are all in the middle of the map. You only get the smaller ones around your base. And Sky might take a little while because he might explore here first. Yeah, I'm saying that the artifact. This is interesting. I was going to say the artifact sort of didn't see anything here, so I think if it were me, I would have assumed the base isn't here, and I would have sent the AXA here instead. It's easy for me to say that, obviously, when I can see everything. But this does give Magnus a chance to finish the big walls he's going for, and the artifact does finally get spotted. But I think that means, yeah, he did spot the base now. So Sky does know where Magnus is. That villager, what happened to that villager? He's still just chilling out here. I don't exactly. Maybe he's just trying to. Okay, he's just I think he's just scouting the wood lines to just sort of figure out where he needs to put the walls up. But he's going to need to go on stone pretty quickly if he wants to. Oh, he does actually have that pit next to the stone, so that works out quite well for him there. Storage pit just going up on that wood line there, and then archery range. I think double archery range. So a few bows coming in here. Singular scout coming out though. It'll be interesting to see if he makes some more. He did get the leather cavalry armor, which you'd have thought you'd be making a few more scouts if you wanted to take advantage of that. He's not making villagers anymore. In fact, neither player are. They're both focusing military for the time being. These clubbers going to be pretty quickly dealt with the bowmen. By the bowmen, I should say. And slingers coming in now. So Magnus going for the text for the scout, and then switching into the slinger. And this scout should, in fact, he'll probably be able to pick off a couple of these bows at the back here, but bows forward now. And yeah, the problem is with these walls is he's got some of them up, but the front of his base was still pretty much wide open. One villager, was that a scout? I think that's a slinger actually. But I think a few villagers going to get picked off here now. Emergency barracks comes up at the back. But we don't really have much wood in the bank. A couple of slingers coming out. But I think this might... I think that one scout's probably not... Yeah, going to get dealt with. There's the clubber there, but nothing compared to the bows in the base. And I think this is going to be 2-1 advantage to Sky. I think a bit too greedy with these walls here. Cost them too many resources. And yeah, Sahara's not the kind of map that you can really just close off and try and boom on. And yeah, maybe a few questionable storage pit tech choices. Just getting those upgrades for that scout and only building a single one. Villagers do try to run away, but Crocodile wants to play as well. Oh, he does get the quick wall behind, but which maybe means Sky doesn't find him straight away. 21 villagers left. It's better than game 1, I guess, where Carlsen went down for like 6 villagers at one point. But yeah, all these military units just get mopped up as they spawn. And GG called. So yeah, very nice double bow push by the Latviat player, playing to the strength of this Civ. And pretty short game in the end there, and convincing win for Sky. Goes 2-1 up. Like I said, this just a little bit too much trying to go for the walls on this map. It's always going to be very hard because the wood lines, like I said, are always so thin on this map here. I think you could probably do the thing where you do like the close walls, where you like try to wall in pockets, like your wood line and stuff like that. Maybe that works, but bowmen are still going to be able to range over those walls. Is the problem. And yeah, just maybe, yeah, because he went for the stable and then the text. It's just like a lot of resources going into doing not much. So maybe like quite a few resources wasted by MagnusCarlsen there. And yeah, like I said, the big walls. It's always going to be difficult to wall up on the Sahara map. You need a lot of time to do that. And yeah, so that takes us on to game 4. And hopefully we get into that quite quick. In fact, it's showing here that apparently Sky was winning by shrine, so he's not got it on conquest only win, but maybe I'll just quickly type that in the chat. Oh yeah, in fact, Magnus has literally already said it. I mean, we don't often see anything other than the conquest win in Age of Empires 1. Let me just take us back to the draft, just so I can have a quick look at that with you guys. So it was the Latviat, so Sky's second pick, and a very nice Civ in RTR at the moment against the Macedonians. But Magnus still does have some nice Civs left. in his draft. And like I've said earlier, I'm not a huge fan of the Assyrians in the current version of RTR. So I think I'd argue the Carthaginians can still be a little bit tricky at the start of some maps. So we have played, what have we played? We played Ocean Ring and we played Sahara. So we've got Hill Country and Desert Ridge left. So you've got to imagine Desert Ridge is going to be the next map probably for Magnus. And I suspect the Persians will be the choice here. Which leaves, what would Sky pick here? I mean, maybe the Assyrians, just for the faster villagers, to go and gather those elephants in the middle. Maybe that's a good way of taking advantage of the Assyrian bonuses there. Okay, they've not set up the lobby yet. Let me just refresh AOE2 Rex. Sometimes it bugs out a little bit. Chess and checkers. Yeah, it is 2-1 at the moment. I was a little bit confused what you meant there, but is it best of 5? Yes. Surely Sky is paid. Pretty sure this isn't Sky's first game, so you should know that it's. Yeah, he's already played one series, so you should know it's a best of 5. He's already played against Cool, yeah, winning all his games pretty handily in this group. So he's already Cool's actually played all 4 of his games, so it's just every other player in the group needs to do their last couple of games. Sky, I guess, maybe thought he'd already won that, so maybe a little bit unfortunate for him there that he has to play another game. Maybe more just wishful thinking than actually assuming that was the case. And okay, so there we go. They're setting up the lobby now. So yeah, like I said, you've got to expect that Magnus is going to pick his other home map in all likelihood. But I don't. Like I said, I think I prefer Magnus's civs that he has left over. The Persians do have, like, if you can't make big damage in the early game, they do fall off a little bit. But you could argue the same about Carthaginians as well. And yeah, like I say, Assyrians I just think is maybe the worst civ at the moment in the game. I guess we could argue that they can be a little bit more aggressive than something like Sumer or I don't know, maybe like Greeks or Palmy. They're just a little bit stronger in that early tool age than those civs, but if you do get to the Bronze Age with all those other 3 civs I just said, then those other civs are just way better. There was some slings. Who was it that built the slings though? I think it was Magnus. I think it's mostly been Magnus that has sort of been trying slings now and again to slightly, maybe not the best effect in a couple of the games, but at least he was trying with the slingers, I guess. He knows they still exist, and yeah, we're just waiting for them to kick off for game 4, and we'll get you back in the games ASAP. Yeah, it's AOE2 Rex is doing the weird bug. It's still saying they're playing like the Sahara map to me. Just give that a quick refresh. I don't know if they've... What is going on here? I think they've accidentally launched on Sahara again. By the looks of it. Let me just check what's going on here. Presumably that game's... Okay, so this shouldn't be happening. I don't know if any of you guys have either of these players on like Steam friend list. Maybe try and message them through that, because I don't know why they've chosen to play the same map here. Yeah, I mean this game just won't count. You can't play the same map twice. So I don't really understand why this has happened. I mean, they have picked new civs, but yeah, they can't pick the same map twice. Otherwise, you could just pick a water map and then just draft entirely water civs and just keep picking it over and over again. So yeah, unfortunately, this game, hopefully they don't play it out. I mean, I guess why would they? They probably think they can, is the problem here. But yeah, okay, game paused. Okay, nice and res, thank you. There we go. Not exactly sure what the thought process was there. But a little bit strange. Wrong map. I guess maybe they just didn't change the map then. Well, Magnus picked the Persians, so well, and his home maps, the Desert Ridge. So I expect that was probably the intended map to play. Let me just sort out the game for myself. A little hiccup there. It is what it is. And I've got the capture age bug again. So I'll quickly do the capture age restart. And it looks like, yeah, we've overlapped with the next game here. But hopefully a few of you will stick with me for the last game. And then when this series is over, I will switch over to I'll raid unrestricted at the end. What's that game? So it's, yeah, off-war against Panthera. Okay, yeah, Desert Ridge is the map we are going to next. As expected, back to the regular schedule. And like I said, we're on a 2-1 advantage to Sky, but the players seem to have been reasonably even on most of the maps. Like I said, I think I'd favour MagnusCarlsen civs that he has left over. But Sky is the higher seed, though our seedings aren't necessarily massively accurate. A lot of the lower sort of seed players we've sort of just gone by feel, because obviously there's not really been much. Well, this is the first 1v1 RTR tournament outside of the Dawn of Ages tournament, which was only a 8-player invitational tournament. Let's have a look-see. Okay, looks like they have launched now. And yep, like I said, we're on Desert Ridge with the Assyrians and Persians, so we have the correct map this time. Same civs as before. And let's get us in to Capture Age. And away we go. So, okay. Desert Ridge map generation can be quite varied, as the ridge itself can spawn in many iterations. This one's a little bit sort of like diagonal. Sometimes you can get it so the ridge is like straight line across, and sometimes you can get it where it is this like more like diagonal one across between the corners. And when it is a bit more of a diagonal one here, you'll notice that like Sky base is very, very enclosed here. So from the map generation, you can sort of assume the shape of the ridge to some extent, though it still varies quite a lot. That said, though, Sky's map is pretty open in comparison. Don't know why this forage works is so loud. What's going on there? Is that another bug? Let me just try and... Okay, I think it's the normal game sounds. There we go. That's better. I think I need to like load into the regular game before Capture Age, and that's what was going on there. But yeah, the ridge, like I said, spawn can be pretty random. Sometimes it like can spawn in like a sort of this sort of arc shape, and give like one player more of an enclosed area than the other. The Sky, like I said, I think probably has a pretty nice advantage to the map. He does drop the elephant there. I don't think MagnusCarlsen calls. Fair enough. He's called that within 3 minutes, so that's fair. Maybe lost a villager. Yeah, lost a villager. So, I mean, it's not how you want to use the re, but it's allowed. We'll allow that. And we're just waiting for them to resign out. So, few little hiccups before we actually get the game started proper, but yeah, like I said, each player gets one restart, and I guess Magnus just lost his villager there. Yes. Oh, you can see. I was thinking of doing this in my game against, was it Jesse or Doubt? Yeah, the village goes down there. But then I thought, that's probably going to... I thought maybe it's a little unsporting to do that from my mistake, but maybe I should have done that in hindsight. But don't know what's going on. I guess it's just because it's glitching out from the last thing. Yes. Okay, so it'll be same map, same civs. And... And, yep, like I said, hopefully we'll get this game for going eventually. This ended up being one of the longer series I've had to cast for various reasons. That first game was a very nice tool war game. Well, pretty hectic tool war game at the very least. And maybe I'll go back to the this view. I don't use this image enough. It's a very nice artwork. I'm not sure where the artwork's come from, but I do quite like it. Banner for the tournament. There is another banner, but I prefer this one with the nice architecture there. As we just wait for the lobby to get set up properly. And so yeah, Magnus has used his re. Sky does effectively still have one himself if he does want to use it. But hopefully we can just get the games underway with not too many more problems. And yeah, looks like the other game is they're just sorting out the draft and the lobby for the other series that Unrestricted is going to be casting. But like I said, hopefully a few of you will stick with me, and I'll pass over the reins to Unrestricted when this series is over. We could still have 2 more games though, depending on how this series goes. Like I said, not really a huge fan of the Assyrians on the current patch, or current version of RTR. So that gets us back into the game here. And again, you can see, actually, the ridge spawn's fairly similar. It's a little bit more to the south, I guess, but then the spawns are quite a lot different. Like in the last game, Magnus was sort of around this area, and Sky was sort of over here. And again, I was saying it was reasonably closed off, but actually, Sky's a lot more open on this map. So not as good of a map here. One of the main things of this, though, is how many elephants there are on the ridge, which is one of the main reasons to go Persian. Is if you can go to the center ridge and find quite a few of those extra elephants with the very nice hunt bonus for Persians, they can be extremely powerful on this map. And I've actually played Persians on this map myself, where sometimes you do get that more close spawn, and if you find like 2 or 3 elephants at the centre here, you can quite easily go for fast bronze, with it being usually not too difficult to wall on some spawns here. There's a little gap next to the trees there, and you might think he's open on this side here. It's just one of those things, maybe I'll have to explore that later, but he is actually closed off at the back here. So all he'd actually need to wall is sort of like this area, maybe here, or yeah, maybe here, here, and here would be the walls of choice. But Sky at the back of his base is sort of closed off, so he could. So yeah, it's just this area here is very open at the front. There's going to be a lot of resources committed to trying to wall that off if he wants to. Carlsen does send a villager forward. Let's see how many elephants he does manage to find. So he definitely sees one, but he probably wants to do like a little bit of an orbit first before trying to come back. As like I said, you can just see how many elephant there are, just even in just this area here. That's already 11. So he sees another. And he's off the edge of the ridge now. So unless this is some forward barrack shenanigans, and he's maybe ignoring the elephants, we'll see what the decision is here. He's just chilling for the moment. Second villager coming out. Interesting. And yeah, like I said, the Assyrians, I was saying earlier in the cast that maybe, because one of the Assyrians' bonuses is their villagers move 10% faster. He does just grab the 1 elephant there, actually. And this is going to be a forward villager. Yeah, so saying that villagers move 10% faster, I thought maybe that would be a good way of like taking advantage of the ridge. But Sky has not gone for that. Instead, he sort of tried to storage pit near his gazelle, and he's going to work it that way. And Sky is actually the first to click up with 20 villagers. 18 villager up for Magnus, but pretty much going at the same time. In fact, a little bit slower. Entire minute of idle time. Villager is going to spot the gazelle, so he should assume that he is near Sky's base here, because you're going to get those gazelle spawns near your opponent's base, and yeah, the barracks goes down. I think it's going to be a little bit awkward for Sky, because this is basically his only food eco that he can see. I guess, oh no, he's not seen the berries there. So it's going to be a little bit of a crunch on the food eco after he spends his initial resources. But he does have the 2 extra vills, but the clubbers are already coming in. Barracks only coming up now. Second barracks is going to be in view. So Sky is going to be alert. He probably should send the villagers here to try and deal with this. 1 clubber is already out though. So if clubber comes out, potentially Magnus deals with this. Villager is going to go down though. So that's actually quite nice for Sky that he does deny that second barracks. It's going to relieve a lot of pressure. And Sky is up to the tool age first. And it's going to be straight into an archery range here. What Magnus could do is switch into slingers after the initial axer push. But yeah, that second barracks not going up is going to massively delay this. And no upgrades in for the clubbers, so this is very nice for Sky. Armor upgrade just comes in now. That was quite a lot of nice damage in from the villagers. It's like before that armor upgrade in is when you have the chance to deal with the axes. Went for tool working first over the armor, did Sky. But the two upgrades effectively balance each other out here because tool working didn't quite come in for MagnusCarlsen there. And it's going to be an archery range on top of the hill for Magnus. Like I said, I'm a little bit sort of confused that Magnus didn't try and take more of these elephants. Maybe he tries to move on to the ridge at a later point. And then take advantage of the elephants there. A couple of units here from Sky, but we do have an Axis still in. And as he doesn't manage to take out a villager there, the Axis was sort of like not really targeting anything for a long time. And so it's straight into bows for both players now. And Magnus is going to try and wall now. Well, he has the three houses as part of the wall there. So it's going to be a weak point. And obviously he is open on this left side here. He did notice the hole in the tree line there with the house wall. Last Axer. It's going for the big walls. There's a little gap there, and the Axer is going to prevent this from going up, I feel. This guy just dealing with the barracks there. 3 archery ranges. I feel like Magnus definitely doesn't have the eco to pump from 3 archery ranges. Let's have the 4 bows for now. And yeah, unfortunately these walling villagers get caught out. And this guy doesn't get distracted. He's dealing with this well. A decent map of bowmen's, but again, I think maybe 1 too many archery ranges for the time being. Still only 20 vills for Magnus, and Sky's still just slotting in a few villagers here and there. So at this point, going to be a pretty nice eco lead for the Persians, I would imagine. Not the Persians, the Assyrians, I should say, sorry. Again, the Persians, Magnus not really taking huge advantage of the Persian bonus on this map. And seeing their Axer is going to be idling. He's got a couple of bows in defense, so it's not too bad, actually. So maybe, even though he lost a couple of villagers here, maybe Magnus does get the chance to fully wall up now. Woodworking already coming in for Sky. I've noticed he is quite good at getting that in pretty early. This Gazelle a little bit far away from the base, but it's something at least. And got 5 bows here. Single bow. It's got a storage pit just for these Gazelle. So maybe just a few optimizations to be made by both players, but it's obviously very hard to play the perfect game of Age 1. Bows are in though. This attack might be a lot more successful than the early axes were. It's fixing a house at the time being. This is giving Sky time to react. Slinger is actually out in defense from Magnus. Like I was saying earlier, Magnus has been one to put the slings in. Archer is a little bit too close to the CC. They don't have the archer armor in. Oh, they do actually have the archer armor in. So, one archer getting picked off, but I don't know why he's still running. Oh, there are the bows in the back there. Maybe that was that. And Axer is going to actually catch out. So, both players just sort of trading military units. The wall still hasn't gone up yet, though. Magnus probably had a chance to do that, but now that's going to... that chance is now going to slip away. He is sort of still pumping bows, but like I said, I think wasted maybe a bit of resources on that 3rd archery range. And what we've got in defense here, just a singular bowman at the moment. Slinger is coming out, probably from this barracks here, yeah. Bows do have +2 range, because I'm pretty sure stone mining isn't in. Yeah, stone mining isn't in. So the bows do start +2 range, although fighting with the villagers is going to work out reasonably well here, because no archer armor in for Sky. But then again, Sky is now picking off the bows at the forward archer ranges, and now all three of these are going to be a little bit useless. And he did have a storage pit on the top pit. Only 15 villagers still for Magnus though. He's still just not making any eco. And you've got to think that this is just going to more and more favour the Assyrian player. In fact, with both players going full bows, this just favours the Assyrians. Magnus probably shouldn't be trying to fight bow to bow against that. Probably should have switched into the slings at this point. But again, he's just committed to those 3 archery ranges. And wall does finally go up, but there is still, unfortunately, this gap here. This might be one of those occasions where, just like because you're here and you want to try and again, you just don't want to think. You just don't want to chance if there's a hole there. And one slinger in the mix is going to absorb a decent amount of damage, but yeah, like I said, the bow versus bow war is only going to favour the Assyrians, so a little bit questionable choice by Magnus. Villagers at 32 now for Sky as well, and he's building up a decent amount of food that he might be able to click up to bronze reasonably soon. And you've got to imagine with the Assyrian bonus and a number advantage, this is going to be a pretty quick clean-up for MagnusCarlsen. For Sky, I should say. And that's going to be the last of... He just needs to let the Assyrian bows fire. Just don't micro the Assyrian bows, just let them shoot. They fire so fast that if you micro, you just lose damage in a lot of situations. And you can see huge advantages for Sky now. Like I said, I felt like Persians should have had the advantage on this map with the amount of hunt and stuff you can get on hit. But Magnus, his initial rush, that second barracks got denied, which and also his tool age time was a little bit slow, even though he tried to go less village. In fact, he is going to find the gap hit. So like I said, sometimes you don't find this, but I guess sometimes all you have to do is right click in their base and your units will tell you where the gap is. Sky's trying to go and put some counter attack in, but there's plenty of bows in defense for Sky hit, so I don't think this is going to do much. And yeah, all the units come flooding in. Bronze Age already half in, and this is... I don't know what's going to happen first, the Bronze Age coming in, forcing Magnus to resign, or all the wood line dying, forcing him to resign. It looks like the wood line going down is going to be the first of the two. So it's been a pretty back and forth series, but in the end here, you've got to say maybe a little bit unlucky with the barracks getting spotted, but Magnus going full bows has just played into Sky's hands into this one. Biggest advantage for the Assyrians is obviously the faster to firing bowman. So you normally just want to play the counter unit and go slingers it. Bronze Age in now as well. And I can only imagine, yeah, it's a matter of time until the GG gets called. And yeah, maybe a few just poor decisions, and like I said, maybe a little bit unlucky that the barracks was a little bit too far forward there for Carlsen. But still, that was pretty nice series to watch in the end. Especially that for game one. It was a pretty crazy series to watch. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. But yeah, 3-1 victory to Sky in the end. And I guess I won't loiter around too much because there's another match being hosted by Unrestricted. So I'll just quickly send you over to him for the next series that's being played between, I think it's Off-Woe and Pantera. So I will quickly just send you over to him. Unrestricted. There he is. So I hope you guys enjoyed my casts, and I will be around to cast another game later actually, which I can't remember what the other game is, but I'll just look up that game before I send the raid. So I will be casting Pantera against F-Pop, in fact. So he's playing 2 games back to back, and that should be in about an hour and a half's time. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys then, but in the meantime, I'll see you guys later. go and watch Unrestricted.